محدش يقول لي الفيديو مش في مصر. هتقول لي طيب وايه المشكله يعني، ما هو ده سيستم متخصص مش جهاز كمبيوتر علشان يجي له فيروس ومش متوصل بالانترنت. جميل جدا، مش متوصل بالانترنت احتمال كبير طبعا، بس حضرتك ده كمبيوتر اساسا وويندوز كمان ولا تزعل، ومش عايزين نقول اكتر من كده. ولو اي حد من اللي شغالين دول عنده فيروس على اللابتوب بتاعه ونقله بفلاش ميموري للاجهزه دي، تفتكر ده ما يعملش مصيبه؟ يعني لو الفيروس ده مثلا غير نسبه المواد المطهره اللي في الميه، مش ده معناه ان ممكن الناس تتسمم بسهوله؟ ولا انت ايه رايك؟ علشان بس ما حدش يضحك عليك ويقول لك اصل احنا دوله متاخره وما عندناش تكنولوجيا نخاف عليها من موضوع امن المعلومات والحروب الالكترونيه. فاكر موضوع الكهرباء لما مصر كلها ظلمت؟ تعال افكرك.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السيدات والساده، السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته. شهدت الشبكه القوميه للكهرباء اليوم حادثا استثنائيا افقد الشبكه 45% من قدراتها، مما ادى الى انقطاع الكهرباء عن مناطق متفرقه في الجمهوريه لعده ساعات، مما اثار غضب المواطنين على مدار اليوم.
لحد دلوقتي مش فاكرين غير انها مناوره والكهرباء قطعت ومفيش اي تفسير لحد دلوقتي. مش ممكن تكون مشكله فنيه وتقنيه واحنا مش واخدين بالنا؟ كل شيء وارد في التكنولوجيا، وده موضوع مش مستبعد طول ما احنا مش مهتمين بالتكنولوجيا ومخاطرها. ويا ريت ما نزعلش بقى لما نلاقي الكهرباء تقطع من غير سبب ولا الميه تتلوث. بعد الفاصل ميعادنا في لقاء حصري لتيك توك والقاهرة والناس، والأول مرة على شاشة التلفزيون مع واحد من أهم الخبراء في مجال الأمن الإلكتروني، وهنتكلم في حاجات كتير زي الجيوش الإلكترونية وحروب المعلومات. استنونا، ما تروحوش في أي حتة. اهلا بيكم. النهارده بما اننا بنتكلم عن الجيوش الالكترونيه، احب ارحب بضيفي العزيز دكتور ايرا وينكلر، رئيس منظمه امن المعلومات بالولايات المتحده ISSA انترناشونال، واللي الميديا مسمياه في امريكا جيمس بوند العصر الحديث. دكتور ايرا رئيس مجلس اداره سكيور ميلتون، وهو خبير في مجال الامن السيبراني ومتخصص في التجسس الالكتروني وامن المعلومات. Welcome Dr. Eira. As a renowned expert in cybersecurity, would you tell us the meaning of cyber army?
Well, cyber armies are kind of a natural outgrowth of what you'd expect most to happen in most countries. Specifically, for example, you have you first had the major one. You had the Israeli cyber capability, and Israel has some of the best technologists in the world, and they started doing things to essentially asymmetric warfare. They're looking to do anything they can to give Israel a leg up on the other countries in the area, so they have incredible cyber espionage capability that frankly they don't just use against the Middle East countries like you'd expect, like Saudi Arabia, Syria, and the other regional powerhouses. They use it against the United States. They use it against every major country in the world because they're interested in protecting Israeli interests.
Do you think that there are cyber players in Middle East other than Israel?
Any major country has something. Iran kind of made itself more notable really quickly. Iran probably started with a very minor capability, but right now it's probably one of the best asymmetric warfare capabilities there are. Iran's been accused of, for example, breaking into power grids and essentially having the capability to sabotage power grids and other critical infrastructures and things like that. Their people are developing zero-day attacks. They supposedly attacked Saudi Arabia. Again, I'm not sure how many people are familiar with it, but Saudi Aramco was pretty much made into a useless entity because somebody destroyed all of their computer systems, and the Iranian cyber army is what's thought to be behind it.
I researched the type of attack launched by hackers in the Middle East, and I understand that we can categorize most of them as script kiddies, except the so-called Syrian Electronic Army, which may have some sort of sophistication in their attacks. Do you agree on this conclusion?
Yeah, when you're looking at most of the people in the Middle East, we're talking primarily about script kiddies. Look, for example, at the Syrian Electronic Army. They are not the most advanced hackers out there. They're persistent, but that doesn't make them technically astute. Their attacks have been generally low-tech, involving spear phishing messages. Do they have technical capability? Yes. But the reality is that their technical capability is completely unnecessary, and we really haven't seen any of the notable attacks involve technology. So they have the basic capability to set up websites, they have the basic capability to hack basic websites, but primarily how they've been so notable is by defacing websites through compromising user IDs and passwords of users who have access to either, routing of, websites or access to social network feeds.
I know that you are also researching cyber terrorism. Do you think that terrorist groups such as ISIS have highly skilled hackers?
Yeah, because what ISIS, I'll take a step back first with Syrian Electronic Army. They kind of are almost going into a maturity phase, because I'm like, what happened to them? Ironically, supposedly one of their leaders was killed by ISIS, which is an irony if there ever was one. So that's, so their hacking activity has kind of stopped, or it might have also matured, where the Syrian intelligence services looked at what effort they wasted on me and kind of reined them in and said, you're going to start acting a little bit more professional if you keep wanting money from us, because they do get some level of funding from the Syrian intelligence services.
When ISIS managed to hack the Twitter account of CENTCOM, people here said, oh my God, ISIS hacked the United States Army.
Yeah. So, for example, CENTCOM, they didn't hack CENTCOM, which is U.S. Central Command, which is the military, which is the part of the U.S. military that's focused on that region of the world, supposedly fighting ISIS. It was the same thing in the United States. They're like, oh my God, if ISIS can hack CENTCOM. It's like, no, they guessed a user ID and password on an unimportant system and used it to spread propaganda. Is it embarrassing? Yes. Is it technologically advanced? No.
Eira, I really enjoyed this interview, and it is good to have a final advice for our audience from a renowned expert like you.
Well, thank you. But here's what you gotta understand. The attackers you're facing, even if it's the most advanced Iranian capability or anyone else, Israel, whoever, 9 times out of 10, they're going to come at you with a widely known attack that's easily preventable. You got to stop focusing on the fact that you perceive them to be a dragon and start focusing on the fact that they're going to compromise a bad password, they're going to compromise a computer system that's out of date, they're going to compromise, send spear phishing messages and very basic things. Don't worry about advanced computer security, just worry about doing good basic security, because the attacks, again, you have to stop turning rats and snakes into dragons, because a dragon is a mythical, unstoppable beast. Rats and snakes are pervasive, but you can kill them. That's how you got to look at it. They don't breathe fire. They aren't they're not they don't weigh tons and can crush buildings with their talons. These are little things that can be crushed under your feet if you know how to just protect yourself in a basic way.
Thank you دكتور ايرا. ان شاء الله كل فترة هنحاول نستضيف خبير دولي في تكنولوجيا المعلومات علشان ننقل لحضراتكم اكبر استفادة ممكنة. استنونا في حلقة جديدة والتاك توك على القاهرة والناس.